Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 206. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing your book and you need some help getting it done, or perhaps you're at the stage where you need help reaching your readers to let them know about your book, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Inc., I-N-K, if you're looking for me online. Each day I share with you the writing habits I learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn a quote-unquote non-author into an author. They are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. So good morning and happy Sunday. And what I do here every Sunday, rather than giving you specific tips and strategies about writing your book, we kick back a little bit and I tell you some stories. I give you an example of a finished product. And at the end, I usually pose a learning question, but what we're doing this week, not so much a book, is telling you part 2 of a story I wrote called Make a Wish. So if you listened to last week's episode, you know what I'm talking about. If not, you should catch last Sunday's episode. Today is November 3rd, so just, look up last week's Sunday Storytime episode and you will see part 1 of the story. So without further ado, here is the conclusion of my short story, Make a Wish. 6 months later, Lena grunted as she fought her way down the parallel bars hand over hand. She glanced down to make sure her legs were still attached to her body, as they didn't seem to be helping very much. There they were, a little skinny, but hanging on nevertheless. "Good job today, girl," her physical therapist said, reaching out and helping Lena back into her chair. Lena smiled and meant it. At first, after the accident, her friends thought she was in shock or denial, or slightly unhinged. Or maybe she was forcing cheerfulness for those around her, covering up her obvious devastation. After all, what normal, healthy young woman wouldn't be deeply depressed in her situation? But her friends were only seeing the story on the surface, not the one underneath. While physically and mentally devastating, the accident had tipped over an hourglass for Lena, an emotional hourglass. She'd thought 40 seemed old right up until it nearly became her expiration date. Now it seemed like just the beginning. Her obsessive, rational, but circular worries suddenly seemed trivial. Now that she was faced with learning to walk again, which the doctors believed was possible, the idea of not following her dreams and running in races like that brave woman on the television seemed positively ridiculous. On one hand, it had taken an awful trauma to make her realize this. On the other, there were countless people who would never get to experience this gift. They would live their lives firmly rooted in the belief, the quote-unquote facts, that there were all the reasons in the world not to do something and all the time in the world to do it, quote-unquote, later if they changed their mind. Lena thought about these people as she wheeled herself down the rehab center hallway toward the front doors. They weren't any crazier than she was for believing what they did. A person's point of view on the world is largely shaped by pursuing what they think is true and avoiding what they think is not, and is therefore a waste of time. For decades, Lena believed that pursuing her passion was a waste of time. It took her accident to realize that following your heart is one of the best uses of time. She knew it would be a long shot to change anyone else's mind with her words, but maybe, someday soon, one of those people, the ones who thought they had all the time in the world, would see her running on TV and ask, "Why her and not me?" So I hope you enjoyed the conclusion to Make a Wish. And here's a quote from one of my authors that seems fitting for this story. It's from my author, Russell Redenbaugh, who's also experienced a great trauma in his life, and he was able to shift his narrative as a result. His quote is, "Trauma invites you to take a stand and make the declaration that you're becoming a different person." And thank you for joining me here on your daily writing habit, specifically Sunday Story Time, where I'm helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. Be sure and drop by my Inc. Authors group on Facebook and now on LinkedIn for motivation, accountability, book writing, publishing resources, and more. And if you know someone else who wants to write a book, please let them know about your daily writing habit. They can listen on their Amazon Alexa device, on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever they listen to podcasts. Thank you very much, and until tomorrow, happy writing.